Hello YouTube, you got Video Game House here once again with another deck profile video. And within our last video that we just posted, we had a Mega Starmie EX Turbo list, but with the release of Mega Evolution sets, we have got more Pokemon that we can use with the same idea, such as Mega Froslass EX. Let me explain the cards in the deck and show you exactly what you can do with certain matchups in order to make this deck more viable, stronger, and better against most matchups. First up, we start off with a 4 count of Snorunt into a 3 count of the Freezing Shroud Froslass. Obviously, if you guys don't know, though, Freezing Shroud Froslass states that between turns, every Pokemon that has an ability outside of Froslass takes 1 damage counter. Now, it doesn't seem like a lot, of course, at first, but it does add up very, very quickly because it does stack. You have multiple Froslass with this ability on the board. It can do 1, 2, or 3 damage counters between turns. 2 or 3 turns pass, and boom, you're hitting, 60, you pass your turns. 3 damage counters. They pass theirs. Now it's 6, then 9, then 12, and it goes up very, very, very quickly. So if you're up against a deck that does have a lot of abilities, more of these guys on the board can take out big Pokemon, support Pokemon like Latias or Meowth very, very quickly, getting you free 2 prizers, where your opponent, if they try and deal with it, they're only taking a single prize, while you can also set up big other Pokemon like Mega Froslass. Mega Froslass, a 1 energy attacker that does 50 times the amount of cards in your opponent's hand. We have cards in our deck such as Salvatore, which is right above me, that is able to evolve your Snorunt on turn 1 into Mega Froslass, where if you equip 1 water energy, suddenly you're hitting for 5 times that hand, and if your opponent opens one of their unlucky 2 prize liabilities, Pheasantipity is in the active, you can hit big damage. Turn 1, when your opponent can't use a supporter card, cards get locked in their hand. Now you're doing an extra 50 damage for each one of those, plus all the cards they couldn't use, like Evolution Pokemon, and you could potentially go for 300 damage on turn 1. Moving into Staryu, we do have Staryu and Mega Starmie. If you guys saw the last video, you understand the same thing. We can use Salvatore to evolve on 1, using Jetting Blow hits for 120, but it hits 50 damage on the bench. Pairing that with the Froslass's Freezing Shroud on a Pokemon that has an ability, you're going to knock that thing out much, much faster. Our only 2 support Pokemon in this is Meowth, which obviously for last ditch catch is in everybody's deck. It allows you to freely search out a supporter card, which, as you see, we have quite a few of that can help us swing the game in our favor. And we run the 1 of Shaymin to protect the bench on people who are trying to knock out our Froslasses on bench, such as Wellspring Mask Ogerpon or Ensdar Manatan. If we have outs to blocking those, 1 Shaymin is all you will need. Our supporters are very lackluster in terms of anything special, so we don't really need to go over too many of them. Salvatore is the only one I would go over because it's a card that is very underrated and very underused, but it does state you can evolve your Pokemon into an evolution of that Pokemon so long as it doesn't have an ability, which is why it works with Mega Froslass and Mega Starmie very, very well, because, you go second, it's in your opening hand. Oh my goodness, I can evolve my active Staryu or my active Snorunt into big Pokemon, into pushing damage, being very aggressive with this deck. It's so much fun, especially when you open it and everything is perfect. Obviously, Boss for gusting, Hilda to find an evolution and an energy. It does help you search out the legacy or ignition energies. Ignition is for your Mega Starmie EX's secondary attack, which does 210, and it cuts through abilities. And we're going to go through that in one of our videos, one of our matches today. You also can use it as a 2 energy boost for the Mega Froslass. Mega Froslass does still need a water energy and 2 energies to use its second attack, Absolute Snow, which does put your opponent to sleep, but Ignition does fill up those 2 energies very, very quickly. It does help. It's very much not as seen as using Mega Starmie as a secondary attack, but having the Ignition in there does give you that out to potentially put your opponent to sleep, and that 1 sleep turn could throw the entire game in your favor. Colress searches for a stadium for Surfing Beach. Surfing Beach is a separate effect from retreating, so your opponent cannot lock your Pokemon using things like Clutch, Corner, Sob, anything of those nature that says your opponent cannot retreat. You actually use the ability of Surfing Beach, not a normal retreat, to retreat your Pokemon. It switches out your active water Pokemon with a benched water Pokemon, and obviously since your 2 attackers are Mega Starmie and Mega Froslass, you have opportunities to switch out a Staryu that they try and lock in and you don't have an evolution for. You can play Surfing Beach to freely retreat into Mega Froslass if they tried gusting it and locking it up. Again, our supporters, our items, are not crazy either, with the 4 Buddy-Buddy, 4 Pokepads, and 4 Ultra Balls. Ultra Ball as a combo piece. If you don't have Salvatore in hand, you can use Ultra Ball to search Meowth, to search Salvatore, to evolve your basic into getting big hits on turn 1. Just a thing you should know about, or remember that you do have options to do. And then we have the final 2 Night Stretchers on our Surfing Beach. Our energy count is like this because of the opportunity where we do have Mega Pokemon, and if our opponent can knock out Mega Pokemon, if you use a Legacy Energy, you're able to attack with Mega Froslass, with Mega Starmie with their normal attacks, but also it takes them from a 3-cost to a 2-cost prize, so potentially you can set up just only Mega Pokemon on your board, so if they take out Mega Froslass, Mega Starmie, and one of them had a Legacy, now you have another Mega on the board that they have to try and find a way to get through, so depending on the matchup, you'll go into Froslass to do a lot of excess damage on their ability Pokemon. If they don't have a lot of ability Pokemon, you can use Mega Starmie to try and ping other Pokemon down. And if they just use big Pokemon, you potentially have the ability to use Mega Froslass with a big hand in order to take big hits with just 1 energy. Let's get into the games, and let me show you what I mean by how this deck can work against a lot of things you wouldn't expect it to. All right, so we do have a couple of games here. These were all shot either on Ranked Ladder or during our streams. So if you guys ever want to come by and see us play these games out in live person, stuff like that, head on over to twitch.tv/videogamehouse. I'm open. I'm usually on Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and Sundays. Saturday and Sundays we do Pokemon tournaments. So this one was, I think, off stream, though, to be completely voiced on that. So we do see the normal combo these days of the fighting type Mega Lucario deck. We know that they have Pokemon like Lunatone that can give them extra abilities, Hariyama that has the effect of, bossing. But we were able to just turn 1 our friend Salvatore into Mega Starmie, take out that Riolu, and things can just spiral out of control in that nature because of how easy it is to hit that 120. And we hit the Lunatone on the bench because a Froslass can ping 10 damage, and then we can hit it for 50 again, taking another knockout and taking down Lunatone, or Solrock in the active for 120. So it was very quick, very easy. And that just shows you the Turbo Starmie still just kind of crazy. If you don't have the Mega Froslass immediately, you can still go Mega Starmie. So we have multiple options to hit those things. This is another new deck that people are seeing a little bit more on the ladder, is the Mega Diancie Jellicent EX deck. I personally, I understand its value. I understand what it does. I also just don't believe that it's that good of a deck, if I'm saying, honestly, because you have to pay the cost of a prize in order to use the Dusk Noir if you use it. And then Mega Diancie is a 3 prize. That's only positive is that it takes 30 less damage, but hitting 300 isn't that great right now. You did see that right there, though, with the Turbo Energy. We were able to use Nebula Beam, which does cut through the opponent's abilities, so even though they have that Diamond Coat to -30, it didn't matter. We are looking for options to switch with, hopefully finding an opportunity to try and get out, but realizing that Surfing Beach did not affect our Meowth does kind of hurt. But we were able to get some good damage out there on turn 1. Our opponent is trying to set up the bench, but these days there's no things like Penny in order to pick up that Mega Diancie, so it's pretty good to be damaged because we were able to shoot the bench regardless. Our opponent trying to item lock us while he waits to get Jellicent, but we're looking for options to get out of that. We find a Lillie's into new cards. We were trying to look for any kind of a water. Yes, we thought this through, that we were just going to give up Meowth in order to deal with the bench, forgetting that the Diancie's effect is not active specific. So we only do 20 damage to it when it's on the bench. But since it has an ability, Froslass is still going to peck down at it, so it didn't really make too much of a difference. We were going to take it out, but now we didn't, so now it's just going to be one of those other things where it's going to get knocked out between turns rather than getting knocked out at the end of my turn, so which is fine. We go Salvatore just to go get a second attacker because we realize that we can do a lot more damage by just setting up a second guy, and our opponent now has to play around that. And we go after the Duskull here, trying to force it, because if he evolves it, then he's going to have to use it right away, and if he does, that's just another prize card for us. But due to the board state here, we've already won. If he uses a Dusk Noir or a Dusclops, he loses a prize, And that Mega Diancie, if he can't get it off the board this turn, it gets knocked out from our own ability, which is what you see does happen there. So now we're down to 2 prizes, and boom. It's even numbers, and we're able to get those even knockouts to get everything for us. We already had everything locked away with the Mega Froslass too. If he had a bit too big of a hand, we were able to one-shot anything on his board. And if he didn't get a card out that he needed, then I'm able to use Mega Starmie to get another knockout. Another fun deck that people are playing on ladder. I believe people are still calling it Terror Box, but I think it was changed to Sloth Box from the community. I don't know exactly why, but oh no, this is the Raging Bolt game. I'm sorry. Yeah. So this was unique because he was able to get everything else he needed, but like I needed to just get knockouts here. I wasn't going to go into the Ultra Ball, into setting everything up in order to just get a Mega Staryu on the board or something like, or Mega Starmie. So we just go in with big damage, but if our opponent, uses the Pheasantipity and they can't figure out a board state where their cards have too many cards in their hand, then our Mega Froslass is very daunting. We also can still use our Hilda to find an Ignition Energy, like I spoke about earlier, where you can give it an extra 2 energies to do 150, put your opponent to sleep. So even if you have the retreat aspect, you can't retreat them if they are asleep. Our opponent is just kind of popping off with his hand. They're getting everything on the board. The Glass Trumpet was so strong, but he only had 1 energy in the discard pile, so it didn't make that big of a deal. Into the Crespin, into the setup. Unfair Stamps me. This doesn't look so good. Except for the fact that I still have a Snorunt, and now that I have Night Stretcher, I can go get my Mega Froslass from the discard pile. So even if he gets it, it's like looking at his board state. He used both of his Knock Towels. I'm checking every opportunity that I have here. So he's got no more free search. He does have options here where he's trying to get weakening damage because he couldn't take a knockout on me, but we're still pushing. We're still pushing. We don't want to throw a Froslass down. It doesn't make any sense to throw Froslass here because if we have only 1 Froslass on the board, we can't do anything with it. He wants to use the Fez here, so that's why he lets basically Fan Rotom go down. He couldn't take a knockout directly on 310 damage, so he pushes the Fan Rotom in order to hit it, because he only had 28, I think, in terms of damage. So now he's just trying to figure out where can I get more energy to take this knockout. Obviously, he gets there. But he has to pay all the cost of all the energies, and this is where he makes his big mistake. He gets the knockout, but he throws away all of the energy on the board, but he leaves it with his Raging Bolts to try and attack the next turn, but luckily my card combo in my hand hits that big damage we needed to get that free knockout. Another good combo is that Mega Froslass and Mega Starmie both are worth 3 prizes. So if you have a Mega Froslass on the bench, ready to go, if your opponent takes a knockout on a Mega, you're adding 150 damage to whatever they knock out. So you can always think ahead like that, where if they take you out, you have a comeback swing that hits for another 150. So if they have 3 cards in their hand, and they're like, okay, I take this out, I'm only going to take 150 next turn, they may miss the whole idea of, I have to pick up prizes. So then they have 6 in their hand, and you hit 300, and now Mega Kangaskhan is a free shot for you. My opponent is doing everything in their power, but they couldn't find answers. And we were so close, so we go the good old combo. Ultra Ball, Meowth, bosses, brings up the attacker, the thing we need to hit, Mega Kangaskhan, and we were going to take it out. And he knew that. He didn't even wait to see if I had bosses orders, which, not great. So don't be this guy. I sped this video up faster than the ones that you guys saw before by an extra multiple of 1. So it's like 300 times on the other videos. This one's 300%. So this one's 400%. So 4 times faster in this video. So that way I can show you everything that happened. If you are this person, I genuinely want you to uninstall. Do not play like this. My opponent is playing a Crustle deck. Everyone knows Crustle is kind of mean in the format. That's not the problem. The problem is the way that he played is that he did not want to finish his turns. He was running the clock for every single turn when he saw he was on the back foot. Now, this is also my fault. If you are watching this game here, I absolutely could have won right here just using my supporter, using my Surfing Beach, switching out, and then switching the Pokemon back in to use Mega Starmie to take the knockout and hit everything I needed to. Like, this is literally where I could have won the game. But I just took a brief lapse of judgment here, and I just wasn't paying attention to the board state, and I'm like, oh wait, I could have won. So Surfing Beach into the Staryu into the active, retreat the Staryu, and then bring Mega Starmie up, take the knockout, put the damage up, and now I'm not confused. So I could have had the win right there, and I threw. So now that we have it, yeah, like right there, you know, I had Jetting Blow, 210, knocks that out. He had nothing else to play around, and we would have just won the game. But that's my fault. But we still have options to win this matchup, because obviously it's hard for a Crustle to take, it has to take 3 hits before Mega Starmie goes down. If we have Froslass between 3 turns, that's 3 on my turn on my finish, and 3 on their turn when they finish. So I, you know, pass to them, they take 3. Pass back to me, they take 3 more. Then they attack their first time. Pass back to them, 3 more, that's 9. They hit me, that's 12. Pass back to them again, their Crustle actually gets knocked out from 3 Starmies. So we can't hit them, but we can still put 5 damage counters on the bench and keep going and keep digging away at their points. But as soon as they start realizing Crustle ain't gonna make it, you know, they can get 3 prizes, it's fine. But as soon as Crustle ain't working with them, they're like, what do I do? Because now all I have to do is pass my turn, this Crustle gets knocked out. So I just set up everything I need to. I do 0 damage, but I, you know, put up more damage there. Knocked out, but now he just refuses to end his turn. He has to choose a new active. It doesn't matter which one he chooses. He just outright lost anyway. I also do have a Night Stretcher, and there is a water energy in the discard pile, so all I would have to do is, like, if he tries to boss and then impound one of my Froslasses, it's not gonna matter. So, like, because you know, I just Night Stretcher and start setting up Froslass to attack. And or I just let the Froslass get knocked out regardless, and he can't set up another Pokemon to attack me because he'll do 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, and then it's just never gonna be enough. But he's genuinely here, you can see, look at the timer, man. The timer started 12 minutes this turn. It took him a full minute to pick a Pokemon to go into the active. Took another full minute to put down a Munkidori. Put another 30 seconds to put down an energy. Another 30 seconds to just move 3 damage counters off his Pokemon onto a Froslass that couldn't do anything. Another 30 seconds for Petrol. It's like, that was the fastest move he made. He got the card he wanted, and then he went for the thing that he needed to do, or he went for an energy, which doesn't change anything because he manually attached a Munkidori energy, so it's, you know, he can't do anything. That last turn took him almost 4 minutes to play 3 cards, none of which changed anything. And we were able to evenly take his whole board, so I was pretty happy about that. But if you don't have it, and I can understand if you were thinking about maybe I still have this, but genuinely I think he was just playing as a Crustle player, and when he realized he didn't have the win, he would just wanted to time it out as much as possible. I was not happy about that. But I was pretty happy about winning because we even showed off that Mega Starmie, Mega Froslass, genuinely 2 Pokemon that cannot even hit Crustle, do still have a way to win against matchups where Pokemon that have abilities usually would protect them against EX Pokemon. We can still whittle away at them. Mega Starmie still hits 50 damage on the bench, which is great. Regular Froslasses have the ability to do damage to any of those Pokemon that normally would be protected, and it just feels great because even in a bad matchup, which would normally be a bad matchup to EX Pokemon decks, we still have outs. We still have ways to win. So I hope you guys do take into consideration the deck at least, and tell me what you guys think you could do differently. The original build for this does run Dark Energy Munkidori, but as you kind of saw there, it didn't really, like, have opportunities to get the Froslass Munkidori combo set up, because we have Pokepad to search it, we have options to kind of get it, but we didn't really run the Crespins. If we had Dark Energy and we opened to Dark Energy rather than finding Water Energy, then we couldn't attack with Froslass or Starmie on turn 1. So it kind of like slowed down the turbo punching super aggro actions. So yes, Munkidori Dark Energy does work, but you'd have to switch the deck around quite a bit in order to add things like Crespin or energy searches. Take into consideration, because you also, if you start Munkidori, then you have to find an energy or maybe even add air balloons to get a higher % chance of being able to retreat the Munkidori, so that way you can set up your Staryu, because you can't use Surfing Beach in order to switch because it's not a water Pokemon in the active, which only affects Surfing Beach only affects water Pokemon. So Froslass, Mega Froslass, and Starmie are all just water Pokemon. The only things that it wouldn't affect is specifically Meowth and Shaymin. You don't need to put down Shaymin unless you're using it to protect. So you just don't put down Shaymin. And then Meowth, again, is just one of those cards you don't put down unless you specifically need to go get a game-changing supporter. So those two, like, you can just keep off the board if necessary. You have to play them, like, sure, but otherwise you can use Surfing Beach to get free switches. So I built it this way. If we can find a fun and or more consistent list for using Monkey Dory, maybe we'll make a video on that. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. If you have any questions, obviously ask me in the comment section below. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. We're doing really good this year. We are trying to hit a couple of milestones, so I hope you guys favorably think of our videos. So obviously, I hope you guys come back to the next one, and I will see you guys later.